All right, welcome everybody to the show. Today we have a restaurateur and a bar operator operating out of Alabama. He's got 4 restaurants. He's been in the business for a long time, you guys. This is not an overnight success. This guy's been putting in work, and he loves what he does, and that's what we love to have on the show, people who love what they do, and they're about what they do. So everybody, Panini Pete, operator of Panini Pete's.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here and speaking to you all, and glad to tell you a little bit about my story. So, as you heard, I'm a restaurateur and a chef. I've been in the business for decades. Just started off working in restaurants as a kind of a weekend, nighttime job in high school, and just fell in love with it. Ended up going to culinary school, went to the CIA, and worked for a lot of other people. I worked on a cruise ship. I've worked for big places. I was the chef at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, and just kind of got into it and learned right away it was something I loved. So the work became very enjoyable, and it wasn't hard to do the long hours and to do what it took. But
so Pete, you were debating at one point going either into the military. You were figuring out what you wanted to do, and you yourself were mentored by a guy who turned out to be the president of the Restaurant Association. Am I correct?
So yes, you're very good in your research there. I got out of high school, and I was 17. I was young. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I said, maybe I'll just go in the military and kind of figure it out. My folks didn't have a lot of money. My older sister was going to college and, changing her major and moving around. I said, man, I don't want to put my folks through that because I have no clue what I really want to do, what I want to be. And, but I'd worked for some great people in the business. And Mike Hurst, who you referred to, was a legend. He ran a place called the 15th Street Fisheries that's still there in South Florida. It's run by the people that own the property now. Mike passed away, but he was iconic. He was a professor in hospitality management. He ended up being the president of the National Restaurant Association. He taught me, everybody that worked there, about what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to do this forever.
Were you aware of his legendary status at the time? How did he seek you out? Was it something he saw in you? Were you already making the best paninis at that age? What had to have been something?
Oh, hell no. I at 17, 18, I knew way more than he did. I had no idea what a legend he was. I can remember one time I came in and we had been playing a round of beer ball, softball, and you got to drink a beer every base. And I rolled an ankle pretty good. I came in, I had my leg in a bucket. I was expediting. So at 17 years old, I'm running the kitchen. We had tickets coming in from the servers. Everything was handwritten then. And I would have to break it down, call it out station by station, drop the steaks in the broiler and the saute in the oven, and constantly all night, and then stop, then pick up, give me 17 plates, fire 2 shrimp Diane, fire steak medium rare, fire, you're running the whole show. And it was crazy. I think about what we did then, but he trained us well. But I remember that specific night, I forget what our forecast was, but I had 2 food runners. I was the expediter, and I'm like, Mike, you got forecast of 700. I only got 2 runners. This is not going to go good. And he's like, whatever, we're going to be fine. I just wanted to make sure we had enough prep. And I'm like, well, really, whatever. Why do you want that prep if we're not going to do it? And he ended up pulling a server off the floor. He said, I can get Jim to come off the floor and handle the expo if you don't think you can handle it. And I said, of course I can handle it. But I said, if you're going to do that, I might as well go. I can't run food. I got my foot in a bucket here. I want to work, but it was crazy. But, then years later, I go to the CIA, who he helped mentor me to get involved there. And first of all, I had to get a letter of recommendation. And he wrote one, and he CC'd me a copy. And I said, who is this guy? He sent it to Joseph Amendola. And I said, this is not the right guy. It's supposed to be the director of admissions, this Wayne Berning. But I read it, and it's very personal. And, I can't wait to see your smiling face when you come back to Florida. And let me introduce you to Pete Blohme, young candidate. He's worked for me. Turns out this guy's the senior vice president of the school. And I went, whoa, I'm in, man. I'm in. And we had videos we had to watch in certain classes where Mike Hurst was featured in several of them. So he was a legend in the hospitality business.
Wow, so it sounds like for you it all just fell into place, everything. Even hearing you speak, Pete, it sounds like all this passion you have for what you do, it's really, really amazing. You can feel it, you can just see it. You're all about it since day one. It sounds like you enjoyed your time when you were working there at the restaurants, and as you kept learning and building and making your way up, because it's like you were lucky enough to find this. And when you find something you love and you keep doing it every day, that's what happens. Compounding, you keep doing it. And here you are, 4 restaurants, Alabama. That's what passion and dedication brings you. And you speaking and just saying this, I feel it. This is not luck for you. This is a lifestyle. This is a passion.
I mean, I think when you dig it, like you mentioned, you're an actor, but you're also in financial services. So, that's another industry extremely difficult. Both of my kids are aspiring to be actors. My son's living in Atlanta right now. He's out of school. My daughter's a senior in college right now, studying musical theater. And, early on, I remember when they kind of had that bug and said, man, I'm going to study musical theater and I'm going to do this. And I'm like going, initially first as a dad, you're going, oh, shit. Oh, can I say shit?
You sure can, yeah.
You're saying, oh, shit. At least he knows how to wait tables, And you kind of have that feeling. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, look, if he's driven to do this, then that's what he needs to do. I need to do my best to prepare him for the fact that there's going to be disappointments. It's going to be hard work. It's not going to come easy. The restaurant business is very difficult. And so many fail. So, and I'm sitting here going, well, I'm successful in this. So why shouldn't he get a chance to be successful in that? So I said, all I can do is support him, guide him, try to teach him to be a hard worker, I don't know shit about acting. I've been on the Food Network a bunch, and I tell everybody good food and bad acting. That's my specialty. But, how can I prepare him to do well in that business and be prepared? Because I didn't open my first place till I was 42 years old. He may sit here and grind and pay his bills and do all right. And then at 40, he gets the role of his lifetime and he becomes the next, Morgan Freeman or something. You just don't know. If you love it, you got to keep doing it. You can't stop.
No, sir. And that's the thing, in many ways, the restaurant business is like the film business. You have to keep the business going. As long as your kids, you said you instill that discipline and that work ethic, right? If you know your lines and you show up on time, you have a better chance of getting something than not knowing your lines. The old story, we got stuck in traffic, we couldn't find parking. If you account for that stuff and you show up on time, that'll bring your chances up. You show up with a smile and you love what you do. People want to come to your restaurant because, Pete's there and he's got the music playing, he's got the Cadillac wall, it's all ambiance. And I think people invest in the person, and even with acting, right? You can only be, I guess in my opinion, the best thing you can do is start from an honest place, and then you work hard at it. Acting is like anything else, right? That's coming from me.
You have to set the stage, no matter what industry you're in. You have to set the stage. You want to be the expert, but you also realize that if you have a product to sell, your ego has to be managed. Actors have big egos, chefs have big egos, but you have to manage that. And the ones that can't, it usually goes bad, because ultimately, if I create a dish that I love and I would die for this, I mean, I got tears in the sauce. It was so beautiful. But if somebody doesn't like it and I can't sell it, I need to be smart enough to not force it down their throat. I mean, we're only as good as our last plate. Actors can win an Academy Award and then come out and be in like a flop the next year, and it's like, it could be editing, it could have been budget, it could have just been the wrong script, who knows? But suddenly they go, oh, this he's not what he used to be. Well, no, he's still a great actor. It's just like you win an Academy Award. You're the same actor you were before you got it, but now you've got this credibility and this, acknowledgement from your peers. But just keep going, keep being who you could be. And, if you lay an egg, just keep moving, move on, but don't keep trying to lay the same egg, man. Give them something they like, Ranch dressing, it's the bane of our existence. But guess what? I have it in every restaurant because people live in the South on ranch dressing.
Pete, let me ask you this. You got 4 restaurants. You survived the coronavirus. A lot of restaurants didn't survive this. What is it that keeps you still going today, kept you? How did you open your first restaurant? People are inspiring to, especially today, run their own businesses, do their own thing. I'm not going to say you did it the old school way, but you didn't really use social media. A lot of people are buying followers, doing these things. You didn't buy your followers. You had to make good food. You had to bring good vibes, and it brought you to where you are here today.
Hey, I would have bought followers if I had any money. I didn't have nickels, but you when you love what you do, one, you got to be prepared. Get the best advice you can. Have mentors that are honest. In my world and in a lot of worlds, financial world, acting world, if you're successful, you get the people hanging on your coattails that just want to say yes, 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 you're the greatest. You need the people on the way to tell you when you're making mistakes, to tell you when you may want to rethink things. And then you have to analyze it. As an owner, when you're putting your nuts out there on the line, you got to make the tough calls, because if you fail, you got to look in the mirror. You got to say, what did I do wrong there? What could I learn from? So to be able to get in there and grind it out. When I first opened Panini Pete's, I was very fortunate. My wife's a school teacher. We had 2 young kids, and I walked away from a corporate chef salary and was pretty successful already, but in a different way. I just, I didn't care if I had a hot dog stand. I wanted to have my own thing. I wanted to do that. So I had to just grind it and grind it and grind it. We were serving amazing food, chef driven, in a little market, beautiful town of Fairhope. But it took time because I was off the beaten path, bro. My place was 5 different restaurants in the last 8 years before I went in there. So it was not a prime location. People come down, they go, wow, this is so beautiful. No wonder you did good. I'm like, really? We had to do this. So to stay the course when it got tough, to stay the course when I wasn't making money, to get up and head to work in month 14 of Panini Pete's, and I can't go to work because my car got repoed. It's dealing with that, and going, okay, and not getting mad about it, going, damn it, I got to keep working harder, and we were growing the business, but I wasn't reaping the benefits of financially, but it was so fulfilling. And I knew the details, like, chefs have a reputation of can be a little bit cantankerous at times. You watch people on TV in the Gordon Ramsay of the world, and growing up working under European chefs, that's prevalent. A lot of these guys, right, I'll teach you what I know, but I got to prove you're worthy. How do I prove you're worthy? I beat the stew out of you for months, and if you stick around, then I'm going to start teaching you. So, and I had a little bit of that in me, but it was more about you. But my people never had to be questioned. God, I hope Pete's in a good mood. I was always in a great mood. And if you make a mistake, I'm totally cool with that. But if you show you don't care and you do something half-assed, I was very not cool with that. I had cooler talks that were legendary. So the details are so important. Set standards, but then be willing to do the work to maintain those standards. And that's hard. And that's where people get lost in the crowd. You're talking about acting. It's being on time. It's having a headshot that's not 10 years old. It's staying in shape. It's keeping your mentals right. Whatever it is in our business, it's buying good ingredients and then preparing them right. You can buy the best ingredients in the world. It gives you the opportunity to be great. But if you screw them up, you screw them up. You can't buy bad ingredients and make them great, but you can buy great ingredients and make them bad if you don't handle it right. Come on, yes. You come through. Yeah. Oh, we got beer coming in. Yay. We're in the restaurant here. It's really happening. Good morning. How are you, my man?
Good morning.
Bring in the cold beer.
Pete, hearing you speak, I want to speak a little bit about this with you because, as you were saying prior to this, restaurant operators, head chefs, sometimes they can get, they have reputations, right, for being characters sometimes, but for the most part, it's being the captain of the ship, managing lots of things. Things don't go perfect. That's a lot like life, right? Sometimes you can have the best strategy, the best blueprint, but it's about who manages the ship best, especially within the chaos all taking place at that moment. Can you talk a little bit about that and how people can implement this into their lifestyles, things that they're not, a lot of people try to be perfectionists. A lot of people just love to stay in this imaginary world where they're not really doing stuff. They're always like, I'm so ready, I'm so prepared. But for you, it's like, there's not a lot of time for preparation. For you, it's like, we're doing. It's a constant doing, and it's been that. And that's what's kept you in business, and that's what keeps you going, right? When was the last time you took an extended vacation, Pete?
Now, these days I get a little bit more flexibility. We've got great operators. We've got, great managers as we've grown the company. I've got an amazing business partner. One of my buddies I used to work with 30 years ago that I hired as an assistant manager. Really, he's my business partner now, and he's the director of operations. He kind of really runs the grind, Nick DeMario. So you got to have good people around you. You got to build resiliency, and you got to realize that whatever you're in is what you're in. I wrote a book recently. It's going to drop next year. It's called Spatula Success, right? And it's about digging deep, and it's about taking these, often overlooked and undervalued, nuggets and bringing value to them, and also seeing the value of building that foundation. So you talked earlier about there's no overnight success, because, we go, oh, this guy suddenly is big time. He was on the Food Network. Man, I've been grinding for decades. So, and you got to be prepared. You got to be resilient. Things rarely go perfectly. And when they do, that too will change. So you have to enjoy it. And, I'm working on another little book called Finding Your Dog. And I tell people all the time, the restaurant business is very difficult for me. But I've come to realize that everybody's career is pretty difficult. When you're really wanting to be successful, when you really want to be a high achiever and have a high net worth and make great income, there's jobs out there that are 9 to 5, and you hit a clock and you go home, and on the weekends, you don't care what happens. You're not responsible. There's no pressure. And if that's the life that you like, then embrace it. But, when you're in a different frame and you're trying to really, really grow and achieve, you have to be prepared for all the things that are going to happen. So restaurateurs, like, you've got one restaurant, I couldn't hardly handle that. How do you handle 4? People showing up late, people not showing up at all, people showing up drunk, deliveries coming in late, trucks, deliveries not coming at all, equipment breaking down. We have this high touch industry where we're one of the most labor intensive industries on the planet. Tech industries can have an office full of 500 people and serve the world and generate billions in revenue. Restaurateurs, you've got 30, 40, 50, 60 people to generate maybe 2 million a year in sales. So it's very, very high touch. So you have to be prepared for that and realize that that's part of it. Like I said, if you have a dog and you love your dog and your dog loves you, that's the coolest thing ever. But when the dog shits on the rug, it pisses you off. Or when you choose your shoes, you don't like it. Or when he pees or he runs away. But that's part of having a dog. And if you're a good dog owner and you handle them right and you put your shoes away and you take them for walks, there's things you can do to minimize those bad things. But understand, you still have a dog. It's still going to do that. 3 in the morning, wake up, like, what the heck? The restaurants are like, I can't believe the truck was late and, this happened. So that happens. We're in the restaurant business. What do? We're almost like in show business. I tell everybody the show must go on. You customers walk in, and I'm sure you do it too, and you sit down and, hey, where's my server? What's going on? You expect to be taken care of. You expect to be taken care of promptly. Your guests have a certain expectation, and I'm okay with that. I got in the business. My job is to meet and exceed those expectations, no matter what's going on in the back, no matter what. So understanding to embrace the pain of whatever your situation is. I don't mind problems. I don't mind difficulties. I just like new challenges every day. I don't want the same old thing every day. If it's driving you crazy, find a way to fix it. Find a way to reverse engineer it and minimize it. And also have a plan to go, when this happens, this is what we can do. And you may have to limit a menu. You may have to do certain things, but the show must go on. And you're going to say, we can't, somebody calls and says, I need 7 panini trays, in 30 minutes. I got this big order. You never say, no, I can't do that, because that's what we do at Panini Pete's. We make sandwiches, but you may say, here's what I can do. I can't have it in 45 minutes, but I can have it in an hour. And if we do just chicken, turkey, and mozz, I can do this. I can't, there's always a way to modify it. No is never an answer. And somebody say, how can I do that? We're busy and I don't have enough mortadella to serve the guests. Well, this is what you do. You say, yes. Can we do this, this, and this? And a lot of times they'll say, oh my God, thank you, because they may be in pressure. They've got a big meeting coming up that they were supposed to get catered and they forgot. Suddenly you saved the day. They don't give a rip that they're only going to get 3 varieties instead of 6. They're just grateful that you're able to help them out. Say, I can't have it ready at this time, but I got it 15 minutes later, but I can deliver it, and they go, yay, you're my hero. So you have to find those ways to, master adversity.
Mastering adversity, absolutely. Now, Pete, what's next for you? You've been doing this for a long time. Is it running the restaurant some more? What's next for Panini Pete? You've been.
I mean, it continues to evolve. That's one of the beautiful things. I do a podcast as well. I have a couple of different foundations. The PR Foundation, we do philanthropy work and help out adults with developmental disabilities, no-kill animal shelters, military charities. I'm part of a group I co-founded called the Messlords. We go out and travel the world and boost morale for the troops through food, called our Forkful of Freedom tour. So that's literally taken me everywhere. And again, by training good people and hiring good people and rewarding good people, it gives me the ability to step away and do some of these funner things. Because I went from finally opening my own restaurant to finally making money in it to 6 years later, finally opening the second one, and then things start to snowball. So now we have Sunset Point, which is this amazing kind of farm to table, Gulf to table seafood restaurant on the eastern shore of the bay. We got Squid Ink here, where this property was a Panini Pete's originally, and the market of Mobile started to evolve. And it went from just being a business lunch to where the downtown started becoming vibrant again. People coming back and a restaurant popping here and a bar popping there. And I was like, man, breakfast and lunch is good, but lunch, dinner, and cocktails are better. So we completely revamped this concept, and we came up with Squid Ink, which is crazy. And we play with the history of Mobile between, the Cadillac wall. I don't know if you know the story behind that, but Antoine de Lemont Cadillac, who was a French soldier of fortune, lover of good food and beverage. He was the founder of Detroit in 1701, the namesake of the Cadillac. He was also one of the early royal governors of French Louisiana when this was French Louisiana in the 1700s. He lived a block away. So we're a Cadillac city, man. He lived here for 5 years, so I'm owning that shit, So that's part of our French heritage. So we celebrate that. But next for me, we got a food hall coming. I got a barbershop called Mobtown Proper we opened, and some real estate that we have. I'm doing rental properties. The pandemic caused some of our employees to really be basically homeless. We had a few cooks that used to work here. When we shut down last year, one guy left town. He had to lease on an apartment where 2 other cooks lived with him, and we had to help them get resituated with accommodations. And I thought about it, and I'm like, we've got 170 employees and they all rent. Why can't I maybe invest in some rental property, give them a great deal, an affordable place to live, make it easy, less money out of pocket, include utilities, all this stuff, but still be able to gain real estate. Hopefully that asset will grow and some passive income. So, it helps us both, but, we've started to do that now. So I have several properties and I'm always looking for more. And it's great. Now I have employees going, hey, you got a 2-bedroom? Hey, you got a 1-bedroom? Hey, what's up? I'm like, no, but what are you looking for? What's your budget? I'm going to go find you one, So that's part of it. The books, more restaurants. We looked at a pizzeria. We're going to continue to grow within this area and just keep living the dream, baby.
Pete, it's very inspiring to get to hear you speak. There's a lot of information out there for people to find for you. You've got your restaurants. You're a great personality. We need the Panini Pete TV show or something. We need to get a pilot going. Let's keep it going, man. Maybe a YouTube show. Maybe a Panini.
I already told you, good food and bad acting. That's my specialty. I don't know. I'm grateful. 2006, we opened up. In 2008, I got a call from the Food Network about a little show that was been on air about a year called Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And I thought it was a prank, and turned out not to be. And, through the process of interviews and whatnot, about 4 months later, we shot that episode. And, Guy and I have become really good friends. He's covered several of my restaurants. I've been on, I think, 20 shows right now with him between grocery games and Big Bite. We've done live tours all over the world. It's really been a game changer for me. The Messlords wouldn't have happened without Guy. He started that. I'm going to South Beach Food and Wine, or Wine and Food Festival in February. We're going to be part of a Triple D live event he's hosting, going to be part of the Burger Bash. So there's, help along the way. There's opportunities out there that you need to try to take advantage of to the best of your ability by bringing value. I thought at one time, hey, maybe I could do a Food Network show. That would be fun. But TV is very different than what I do and what I'm driven to do. So The little shine I get is awesome, and it certainly adds credibility and puts more butts in the seats. But I don't know that I can do. I don't know if I can hold an audience for more than maybe an hour podcast. And I've probably lost all your audience already by now, 30 minutes into it.
I think that it's going to be an exciting one, Pete. I think that they're going to love this. I love this. I was genuinely excited when I reached out to you and I said, this guy's the real deal. And upon doing research, I was like, you don't get a lot of people like you, Pete. They don't make them like you often. People have to, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but people just sort of want to be overnight successes. All I meet is people who seem to have forged some sort of identity, but there's nothing behind the operation. Maybe it's completely dependent on their personality, and maybe there's some life coaching, but there's nothing to show for it. And with you, it's like the reverse. You talk about the bad acting and all this other stuff, but I think especially today, people like the more real aspect of things versus the fabrications anyways. So if that were ever to be the case, I think you would kill it at that, because you're a real deal guy, and you're a stand-up guy, and people can only take inspiration from that, learn from it. This is what we do on the show. We get people who are not fabrications. This guy's running a restaurant. There's not a green screen back there. That's a full running bar. There's a bar back there.
It's the real deal, baby. It's good. But we have, it's hard work, like you said, and there are certain times that people get lucky, or they get a shortcut, or they get an opportunity. Sometimes you catch lightning in a bottle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to expect that, I think, is wrong. And, people don't realize the grind. And I know there's people that, I know in the community, or people that work here in the restaurant, and they look up and they go, oh, he's just the old rich guy or whatever, he doesn't care, he doesn't this. And they don't, and it's because they just don't realize the journey it takes to get here. And yes, I may be successful today, and yes, I may have money in the bank today and have business, but I'm 58 years old, for crying out loud. I lived paycheck to paycheck for decades, for crying out loud. I've had my car recode, my credit stuck, but I didn't let that beat me. I didn't let that stop me. That's part of life, baby. That's not, I can't get a break. We all deal with that. But don't complain about it. Don't be a victim. Just keep moving forward and, keep grinding. We're told that we deserve this, or we should have this, or this should be free, or that should be free. You start believing that because it sounds good. But what you realize is just work for it, and you can get it if you want it. Because, it's not, oh, the rich get richer and this happens and they should pay the hustlers continue to get rewarded and keep hustling. So if you hustle long enough and keep hustling long enough, and when you get knocked on your ass, you get back up and keep going, and get on your ass and get back up and keep going, eventually you might get rich. And if you keep hustling like you did to get there, you will continue to gain more wealth. But guess what? You get to help other people out. The first time I did Guys Grocery Games, they talked about, what are you going to do if you win? I said, man, I got kids in college. I got this going. I got that. I could use the money. And I didn't win that episode. But, eventually, I think the second or third show I won, I started winning money there. But what I did by that point in my career, I created a foundation, and I started giving that money away. And never in my life did I think I'd be able to donate thousands of dollars to other causes. We're in the process right now of raising money to build a house for a young man that works for us. And he's got some developmental disabilities. He was a special ed young man. His dad was a double amputee Vietnam vet. His mom had severe developmental disabilities. His parents have passed away. Wow. He's pretty independent. He can live pretty much by himself. And we've helped him out, but the house is a mess. It's falling apart. It's unsafe. So we're raising money to build this guy a house right now. And we're going to get it done, man. And, I launched the beignet mix recently because that's a big item. And I'm like, I'm going to give some of the money to charity. And then I thought about it. I'm like, I'm going to give whatever we make is going to the PR Foundation. We're going to give it away because I don't need, to make any extra money. But if I can use it to impact somebody else's life, let's do that. So your priorities change and you just keep hustling. The hustlers keep hustling and get rewarded. Now I still get knocked on my ass, we just had one of our restaurants burned down 8 weeks ago. Ed Seafood Shed on the Causeway caught on fire, and
wow,
virtually is devastated. It's you look from the road, it's not gone, but you walk in the door, it's gone. So now we're pulling those pieces back together. And this was a brand that we bought 4 years ago that had been around, iconic brand, been 17 years on the Causeway, old Southern seafood with soul. But to be honest, the couple that had it were older. They had some health issues. They had this great 10-year run, and then they had like a 7-year nosedive. Lost over $1 million in sales. The facility was falling apart. But we took advantage of that, bought the real estate, and just really relaunched the brand, kind of retooled it, left it sold. But like I said, I'm not throwing the baby out. I'm taking your kid to college. And, you know, we did all this work, and then all of a sudden the place catches fire, and it's devastating, and it's going to cost us. We do have decent insurance, and I think we'll be covered for most of it. But to do what we need to do, we're going to have to fill some gaps there. And, you know, we dispersed employees and tried to get them accommodated in some of the other restaurants right away. We put grocery packs together for everybody. We had a meeting with the staff, gave them Walmart cards and all this stuff, because even though we could, you know, get them back working and get them making some money, there were some gaps in there that we try to fill.
That's more to say than most people. I think a lot of people just kind of said, you know, you're going to have to kick rocks, figure it out. It sounds like you kind of went above and beyond for a lot of people. So that's a leader you want to work for right there.
It's a responsibility that I feel. Our business gets a bad rap a lot, and I think we've earned it in some ways. You know, the culture can be sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and a lot of demons and a lot of problems. And, you know, we're all misfit toys in this industry, which I'm okay with. You know, we embrace the circus. You know, the circus needs monkeys and clowns and everything else, you know, and we're good with that. But it doesn't mean that you can't see it as a profession and conduct yourself professionally when you're here. You know, yeah, we have some uniform standards. We have cleanliness standards. We have standards of food and drinks and cocktails. And if you think that's stupid, that's okay. There's places you can go work where it doesn't matter. But we want to be great. This is a profession. I take pride in this. Doesn't mean I don't want to have fun. Doesn't mean I don't love what we do and cut up. But we work hard, and we want to reap the benefits of that. So we have to produce a consistent, high-quality product that can meet or exceed those guest expectations. So when you buy into that team and you're a cheerleader with us, then that's a good thing. We're going to take care of you, man.
Pete, what keeps you personally going today? Is it you an athletic guy? Are you a meditation guy? Because today you've been going at it. You're not somebody who looks like he's beaten by the business. You look like a guy who's ready to. You have a barbershop. You're still going. There's no slowing down. What's the secret to that? I think that's
the reality of that. You have to realize that you have a choice. You have a choice. And you have to make those right choices, and you have to put action to those choices. You know, my wife fought breast cancer. She's a 2-year survivor of breast cancer. You talk about going through the shit, you know, where suddenly none of this matters at all. And just facing things like that, where you may lose somebody unexpectedly that you're deeply involved in love with, and go, wow. So, you know, these challenges are there all the time. And again, that's part of life. That's happening right now to somebody else. Just got that call, just got that diagnosis. And it's like, whoa. So what are you going to do to face that head on, to not let it overwhelm you and consume you when it could? I mean, it's devastating enough that you can just let that pain and that hurt just take over your life, man. And then you're just frozen. Or you could say, all right, let's go. You know, the fire, the cancer, whatever. You have your moment, and then you go, let's get after it. And you make a choice. And you talk about yoga, meditation, athletics, all of that. Okay, it depends on what week. I'm doing yoga this week. Great. Maybe working out next week. I don't know. I've been eating plant-based for a few months predominantly. You know, you're always trying something to keep that edge, because as you age, your experience and your knowledge grows, your wisdom grows. But physically, it does get harder. So you got to take care of your mentals, and you got to take care of your health, man.
all right. Well, it sounds like the secret for you, Pete, is just sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man.
Well, I did grow up in Fort Lauderdale in the 80s, so I'm no stranger. I'm no stranger to that. But
I see it, man. I see it.
But I like to be able to say, been there, done that.
Pete, it's real inspiring to have had you on the show today, for you to have the time to give us today, to grace us and to talk about your story. People, need to know this stuff, and that's what I want to do. Like I said before, and I don't want to repeat myself here, but you're the real deal guy, and people need to stop faking it, man. Your kids want to be actors. It sounds like they have a great mentor that's leading them the way, and they can do anything. And I've heard you say it before, and it's true. Put in work and put your mind to it, and anything you do in life, you can do. And I don't want to be the guy who's, I'm actively doing my stuff, right? I don't want to walk around like that. That's why I have guys like you on the show to say, check them out, you guys. I don't want to just pass out information that I can't testify but this guy, he's got 4 restaurants, man. Go to the restaurant, go try what's that world famous cocktail? Damn the torpedoes.
Yeah, man. So, that's part of our history. Admiral Farragut, it's on the wall over here.
All right.
Damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. That's part of Mobile's history. So it's got rum in it, and it's got squid ink in it. We have quotes from famous Mobilians here, from Jimmy Buffett to Hank Aaron to Satchel Paige to Kenny Stabler to Admiral Farragut. That's important. And you said, the fake it till you make it bullshit is just that. I mean, get after it and don't be ashamed. You go, oh, I'm an actor. Oh, but what do you really do? Whatever. You're an actor, and guess what? That takes work and that takes time. And if you're smart, in the meantime, you embrace what you do to pay your bills, because, part of helping my son was getting him talking to people in the business. And, I spoke to people that just said whether you're going to wait tables, whether you're going to sell insurance, whatever you're going to do to pay your bills, do it and kick ass at it. Because if you show up and you're out of shape in a dirty car with a 10-year-old headshot, and you got a bad attitude because you're waiting tables, you're not going to get any acting jobs, You
said he's in, where is he, Atlanta?
Yeah, he's in Atlanta, which is a good market, but, I still think most of the major castings coming from your area. So he's done some background stuff, some small TV stuff, and he works on crews. As much as I said, get a good restaurant job and make your money, he's like, I'm falling into that restaurant life. So I'm missing opportunities. So he tapped out of that, and he said, I'm going to go work on this movie as a PA for 3 months. I'm going to do a camera PA here. So he's worked in the industry to make money, and he'll step back for 3 months and go, all right, I'm not going to do any auditions, but I'm going to learn more about the industry, sack my bank account. So he's been good with that. And even though some people say as an actor, you want to be seen as an actor, not as somebody that works on a set. But he's like, I don't care. I love learning about cameras. I love learning about, all right, this is how we're going to do the shots. We're going to do our wide angle shots and get those. And then we're going to go in and do our close-up shots and get those. And then we're going to go do our reverse angle and get those. And that's the format that we use. And he's learning so much that he enjoys, because he's young. He may end up saying, I want to be a camera guy or a director or a writer or an editor. You don't know. It's a great industry. Here, I didn't say I'm going to open a panini shop. I love the business. I went to chef school. I've ran hotel departments and cruise ships. That's the beauty of most businesses, is they're pretty diverse. And you'll find your way. Just get out there and do it. You're not going to find your way on the couch. You're not going to find your way playing video games. You're going to find your way working with great people that can help teach you and inspire you to go be your best. Period.
Find a good mentor. The interesting thing about the film business, and I'm sure it is with the restaurant business, is everybody has their own story as to how they made it. If that's how your son wants to do it, who's to say that won't work? I might say, after having done it for a couple of years, maybe make some money in the restaurant to fund the acting business, and then let the act, because then you might be doing a lot of, you might not want to be a jack of all trades and learn all that other stuff. I don't know if Leonardo DiCaprio knows how to operate a camera, but he might know how to operate. I'm sure he does. But again, the more you know about the business and anything you do, you've got a book about the spatula and you know all about it. The more you got to dig deep, and I believe that's awesome anyways. I did the same as well. I was a boom operator once just to get a role on the movie. I held the boom for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, just to have a role for one day. I shot for one day my character's part. When I was starting off, I said, I'll do it. And I held the boom, and I was a sound guy just to get that part. And that's what we did. And so I know all about that. I know.
You got to be willing to do that, man. Most of those people, like I said, there's some of them, DiCaprio. I mean, forget about it. I mean, you, my son Arnold, everybody's going to be DiCaprio. But it doesn't happen that way, but you find your way. he did some films, some student films, and he, a year or so ago, oh, I got this part, I auditioned, I got it. I'm like, great, what's going on? Well, it's a student film. So I'm like, oh, so you're going to get a Big Mac and $20? Yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, oh, well, why is he doing that? Well, lo and behold, I'm watching a show and they're interviewing Henry Keitel, the actor. Harvey. I'm sorry, he killed me. Harvey, and he's talking about that. And he's talking about his dad saying, actor, schmackter, what do? You can't sing, you can't dance. And he goes, so I'm doing these student films with this friend of mine, Marty, I met through school, and he's a little bit younger than me, and he's wanted to do a film, and he saw me in acting, and he goes, so I throw him a bone. I do a couple of these little movies for him. And he goes, and the guy he helped me out pretty good. He turned out pretty good. Martin Scorsese, he ended up okay. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, Arnold, keep doing student films, because you don't know who you're going to see. Absolutely. And then on top of that, literally a month later, Harvey Keitel's eating in one of my restaurants because he was filming down at the Gulf or something. He was doing this new movie. What the heck's he doing? Lansky, Myra Lansky or something. It hasn't come out yet. So me and Arnold go and meet him, and I tell him that story, and he says, exactly. He goes, don't listen to your dad, actor, schmacker, you do you. And then he ends up, the director's there, give me your exchange. You want to come on, be on the set, or come do some background work or whatever, we'd love to have you. But it's amazing because I don't know that industry. I don't know where the opportunities lie. But when you're hustling and you're working, opportunities come.
Just like any trade, the more hands you shake, the more money you make. In the film business, make as many connections as you can, and it'll work into your favor. Just like in the restaurant business, take a class. When I was in Boston, I took an acting class, and I met some great people that I still know today. And the film jobs were a lot smaller. So I see, but Atlanta, your son's in Atlanta. That's a big place. That's much bigger than Massachusetts was. There was a smaller market. Atlanta, I hear, is booming. And then California, right, entertainment capital of the world, they say, allegedly, right? I've gotten a couple auditions this week, so I can testify to that. I've had a lot. It's been a good week, but...
Hey, not for nothing, throw the kid a bone, if you see something. But he loves it. He loves what he does. And like you
send him I'll get his info. Send me his info and stuff.
We will. And, you never know who you're going to meet, the opportunities you're going to get. And then... the good thing is if you stay working hard, and you start to develop a measure of success, more opportunities do come without a doubt, because when everybody's out there trying to do that. If I got developers that are trying to, have a successful real estate portfolio, and whether they're building properties or rehabbing properties, what do they want? They want good tenants. And if they're in a hot spot and they want a good restaurant in there, they're going to look for a proven commodity. So if they call me and I look at it and I go, you know what, that spot maybe has potential. So now I can make a better deal through experience. And I'm saying, I want an A location, you want an A operator. There's a lot of guys out here that'll pay you whatever ask for rent. Here's what I can do because I know this is smart for my business. And I learned how to negotiate well when I had no money, because I had to negotiate well. And you learn your way. And like with what you're doing, you're in the financial services. So guess what? You start to break through and get some big roles and make some big money. You're going to know what to do with it. There's a lot of people out there that, have had money and squandered it. There's a lot of people out there that got a little and grew it tremendously, not because, the restaurant business is how I make most of my living, but I'm already diversifying that into writing and real estate and appearances and other things. So
you keep growing. You got to keep up. You see a bunch of kids are making millions. You got to see what the kids are doing. If people are making all this money on the internet, there's got to be something to it. And so I'm just, trying to, like you said, adapt. You got
to educate yourself. This old fart. I mean, I've got some NFTs. I've got some crypto. I'm trying to learn, it's amazing because the world changes.
Wow. You got NFTs, Panini Pete.
Yeah, man. I got 12.
Man, look at that.
I got some V friends. Gary V's a badass.
Yes, he is.
I had to jump in on some of his NFTs, so I'll be going to VCon. And then also you start learning about it, and you go, hey, it's like football cards, it's like baseball cards. People like to collect stuff. So.
Wow, so you're pretty well versed in this stuff, at least more than most people.
Yeah. Curious minds want to know.
If somebody wants to start a restaurant, where should they start? Do they need to go to school? Do they need to have the drive to start a restaurant? Where does it start? Somebody wants to be a chef, restaurateur.
I mean, some in some aspect, yes, you need to go to school. Now that may be a traditional college or culinary school, or that may be working in the industry. If you want to be a restaurateur, go work for the best restaurateur in your area that you can get a job at, and get a job, but tell them you want to learn to have your own restaurant. That's the better thing. We have people working for us that have the means. Maybe their family's got money and is willing to set them up in a restaurant, but we say learn how to be successful first. So don't spend 6 months here, spend, a year, whatever. So if you want to do that, you need to study it. You need to listen to podcasts. You need to read books. You need to go work in some great restaurants and learn how to be successful.
Learn how to be successful and constantly grow with it.
There's a pathway. Anything you want to do, it's probably been done.
Very nice, Pete. My next question for you: when times get tough in the restaurant, when the restaurant struggles, what do you do to keep yourself going? What do you say to yourself? What do you say to yourself? What's going on there that has kept you afloat?
Well, I had a good buddy of mine, for our industry that I lost a few years ago, Mike Harding. He had Hodad's in San Diego, a legendary place, and he was a Messlord with us. We traveled the world, and he was a diner driver and dives veteran as well. So he had a great saying. He said, "It's not life and death; it's lunch and dinner." So even though for us, your financial stability is on the line, you can't freak out about little things. And when you have challenges, one is you can't sit back and blame the market and blame this and blame that. You have to look within. You have to take responsibility and say, where are we failing right now? And is there a way out? How can we fix it? We can work hard. Did we lose our way with standards? Did we just not train somebody right? When I talk about that running the line at 16, 17, you realize that if you're training your people right, they can help you succeed. Share your knowledge. So you got to look within, be critical as hell, and then make a plan.
You guys, this is a man who never stops, has never stopped, and it's been really inspiring to have you on the show today, Pete. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, man. Take care. Get your butt out to the real LA, Lower Alabama. Come and see us. You'll be on full scholarship, brother.
I'm gonna have to make it out there, Pete, and try. First thing I'm doing when I get there is stopping at your restaurant. I'm gonna get a damn the torpedoes. First thing I'm gonna get, and
a Cadillac burger, baby.
Cadillac burger.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for sharing the story, and thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you, Pete.